$70 million Russian armored column destroyed in precision Ukrainian drone ambush. In one of the most abrupt battlefield reversals of the month, observers watched a Russian armored column move confidently toward its staging area, unaware that a brief break in the storm above them had already shifted the balance. Ukrainian drone teams, tracking the weather with precision, seized a narrow window to unleash a coordinated FPV strike that overwhelmed Russian electronic warfare systems, crippled Terminator vehicles, and left more than $70 million in armor burning along a muddy road. To understand how the situation collapsed so quickly for the Russian column, the story returns to where it began today. Today, a high-speed Russian armored column attempted to reposition for the next day's offensive, but within minutes, that movement collapsed into one of the most costly ambushes of the week. The losses, later assessed at more than $70 million in destroyed Russian armor, came not from aircraft or artillery, but from a synchronized Ukrainian FPV drone strike executed under severe electronic warfare pressure and unfolding weather constraints. What began as a routine road march became a decisive defeat because Ukrainian operators anticipated a narrow tactical window and acted with precision before Russian forces could stabilize their defenses. At 1:47 p.m., 18 Russian armored vehicles pushed south along a muddy dirt road between Kostiantan and Nivka. The column commander believed he had timed the movement perfectly. Heavy morning rain had grounded most Ukrainian reconnaissance drones, reducing visibility to less than 200 meters. Russian vehicles advanced in single file along the waterlogged track, their formation stretching nearly 400 meters. They were just 10 minutes away from reaching the abandoned concrete structures of an old collective farm. Terrain where tanks and infantry fighting vehicles could be dispersed, camouflaged, and prepared for the next day's assault. If they reached that staging point, they would threaten Ukrainian defensive lines by dawn. However, 3 concealed Ukrainian drone teams had been monitoring the weather radar since early morning. They identified a rapid break in the storm cell, noticing that clouds were dissipating sooner than predicted. The moment visibility expanded from 200 meters to nearly 2 kilometers, all 3 teams initiated launch procedures. Within seconds, 24 FPV drones powered up across multiple firing points. Motors surged from idle to maximum RPM in under 2 seconds. The clear window was brief, just minutes before Russian detection systems recalibrated. The instant the Ukrainian teams transmitted their first control signals, the nearby Russian SER VSS-5 electronic warfare array detected the emissions. The system identified standard FPV frequencies in 0.3 seconds and triangulated the launch positions to within 25 meters at a range of 8 kilometers. This precision was enough to cue artillery batteries stationed 12 kilometers behind the advancing column. Russian gun crews, already loading Krasnopol guided rounds, waited only for firing data to be confirmed through the tactical network. As the Ukrainian drones climbed through the thinning cloud layer to establish altitude and line of sight, they exposed their signals to additional Russian detection. An Orlan-30 reconnaissance drone, orbiting at 2,000 meters, swung its camera pod toward the thermal signatures produced by the operator's equipment. Despite the team's attempts to conceal themselves using thermal blankets, the Orlan's multispectral sensors picked up heat blooms and immediately transmitted coordinates to supporting Russian artillery units. The Orlan-30 enhanced accuracy by activating its gimbal-mounted laser designator, painting Ukrainian positions with coded infrared beams. Krasnopol rounds would home onto these marks during the last seconds of their 30-second flight. With data synchronized between the Orlan and the Zhupak 1M counter-battery radar, Russian systems created a complete targeting chain capable of placing a 152mm round within 2 meters of impact at 15 kilometers. If the Ukrainians did not move immediately, their firing positions would be obliterated. The lead Ukrainian team monitored their tactical screen as Zhupak 1M's triangulation tightened. The radar used microsecond timing differences between 3 widely spaced receivers. Because radio waves moved at the speed of light, even nanosecond variations in signal arrival revealed precise distances. Within seconds, overlapping lines of bearing converged on their exact location. They had less than 90 seconds before shells would impact. Their only option: execute a control handoff before the barrage arrived. The first Ukrainian team initiated the emergency transfer to the second ground team positioned 800 meters away. 8 drones switched to GPS waypoint mode, entering a 3-second vulnerability window where they flew blind while control frequencies synchronized. At 140 kilometers per h, that meant 116 meters of unguided travel, just enough for wind or turbulence to knock them off course. But the transfer succeeded with half a second to spare. As the first team sprinted into a wheat field, carrying 20-kilogram gear bags, their bunker was destroyed behind them. A pair of Krasnopol shells struck 45 seconds after they evacuated. The Russian column, meanwhile, activated its onboard drone defense assets. 2 BMPs Terminator vehicles scanned the sky, tracking the rising signatures of Ukrainian drones. Equipped with dual 30mm autocannons, AG-17D grenade launchers, and 4 Attacker anti-tank missiles, the Terminators were designed to form an anti-drone engagement bubble around armored units. Their fire control computers could track 6 airborne threats simultaneously, calculating burst patterns and lead angles faster than human gunners. But 16 drones were now airborne under Team 2's control, creating an electromagnetic signature impossible to conceal. The Orlan 30 overhead refined its laser lock, and the SER-VSS-5 picked up a 300 millisecond spike when both operators transmitted during the handoff. This precision narrowed triangulation from 25 meters to 10. Russian artillery adjusted, and the first shells landed just 200 meters from Team 2. Dust blasted upward, shaking the earth beneath the operators. Still, they held their controls steady, managing 16 simultaneous drone feeds racing towards the column at 140 kilometers per h. They had only moments before another wave of artillery arrived. With 20 seconds remaining, they initiated the second handoff, passing all drones to Team 3, while snatching their backup tablets and abandoning non-essential gear. Team 3, now responsible for all 24 drones, operated from micro-terrain depressions that provided limited protection. Their systems synchronized smoothly, but the airspace problem ahead was severe. Drones were converging from the northwest, northeast, and south at 120 to 180 meters altitude. At 140 kilometers per h, even slight deviations could cause mid-air collisions. The teams had practiced altitude deconfliction for weeks. Team 1's drones should arrive at 150 meters, Team 2's at 180, and Team 3's at 120. Their timing gates staggered arrival at the 2-kilometer mark by 5 seconds, but worsening weather reduced signal clarity. Lightning flashes inside the approaching storm cell produced electromagnetic pulses that intermittently scrambled feeds. With only 4 minutes until heavy rain arrived, the Ukrainians had to trust their rehearsed choreography. Russian artillery continued hammering Team 2's former position, but the operators were already clear. Now the decisive moment approached. The column was less than 2 kilometers away. Battery levels had fallen to 60% due to headwinds. The drones had exactly 1 attack run. No second engagement was possible. As 20 drones entered the Terminator's engagement envelope, both Russian vehicles unleashed walls of shrapnel. Grenades exploded in preset airburst patterns. Auto-cannon shells detonated in proximity bursts. The Terminator's onboard computers attempted to prioritize targets, but with 20 drones of identical size and velocity, the algorithm overloaded. It shifted targets repeatedly, failing to maintain continuous fire on individual drones. 3 Ukrainian drones disintegrated, turned into plastic fragments by near hits. Another spiraled downward, trailing smoke after shrapnel punctured its battery. But 20 drones survived, pushing through the defensive fire and beginning their terminal dive phase. Operators scanned degraded video feeds for vulnerable points, engine grills, turret rings, optical sights, and gaps in improvised cage armor. They selected precise aim points using muscle memory and instinct through flickering screens. The lead Russian tank attempted to reverse, but collided with the BMP behind it, locking both vehicles in place. In only 8 seconds, 20 impacts tore through the column. Shaped charges slammed into weak points. One drone detonated beneath a cage armor gap, jamming a T-72's turret. Another struck a BMP's open rear hatch, igniting an electrical fire. A Terminator took hits to its optical suite and engine compartment, losing both mobility and fire control. Several drones failed to penetrate due to shallow angles or reinforced plating, but enough succeeded to collapse the column's cohesion. Within 90 seconds, 12 vehicles were burning or immobilized. Russian crews abandoned their machines, sprinting toward drainage ditches or scattered tree lines. 3 vehicles attempted to escape across soaked fields, but immediately bogged down, tracks spinning uselessly. 4 surviving Ukrainian drones circled for 10 minutes, assessing which vehicles remained salvageable for the Russians. One by one, they conducted final strikes, ensuring that even damaged tanks or BMPs could not be recovered. By the end of the action, Russian losses exceeded $70 million, with much of the column left burning across the muddy track. Ukraine's drone teams withdrew under the approaching rain curtain, having executed one of the most technically complex FPV ambushes in recent weeks. Post-strike assessments indicated that the destroyed vehicles would reduce Russian offensive capacity in the sector for several days. The ambush demonstrated how coordinated drone teams, exploiting timing, altitude discipline, and known weaknesses in Russian air defense algorithms could overwhelm armored formations even under intense electronic warfare pressure. The immediate question now is simple. Will future Russian movements expose more columns to similar drone ambushes? Or will they adapt before the next strike arrives? Share your thoughts below.